Okay, hello. So, wanted to talk to you today about something unique. And when you do some of our classes, and this is going to happen, or it is happening, and it's going to happen more. When you start doing things like cloud-based labs. So, when we're talking about doing labs either for AWS, Microsoft Azure, VMware, anything that's in the cloud, there's some really interesting things that occur. If you're in the ITNet 159 course, you're going through AWS labs. If you're in a capstone class, you're doing some stuff with Azure. Those are really difficult for us to set up and keep working. One of the challenges is the Amazons, the Microsofts of the world don't have to guarantee anything. And what I mean by that is a couple of years ago, the Madison Area Tech Group, Tech College, not affiliated with us, but just the other colleges, the state, did a whole cloud program. 2 year cloud program sounds great. Microsoft changed their content. They removed certain videos, labs, all that other stuff. It just disappeared. And it's like, well, what happened to it? Well, it's gone. They changed their content, they did whatever they wanted to do, and anybody that had stuff based on it was now hosed. They spent like a year putting all that together, and it was gone in mid-semester. It just poof, gone. Um, I know when some folks do the AWS labs, sometimes they don't work. Sometimes there's an issue. That's because AWS is live. It's not a simulation. I know our advisory council has said, hey, we would love to get students on how to integrate Office into, the cloud and do all that. And they're like, well, can you do it at the school? We're like, no. And they're like, well, why won't your IT group let you? And it's like, this is a major company. This is still a school. You're not going to let people play around with, you know, Office or connectors for 40 some thousand people. It's just not going to happen. So, one of the challenges as you move into this cloud based world and everything else, the ability for sandboxes and to try things just doesn't exist anymore. Everything's now a live environment. Everything is critical, or it costs money to do. I mean, there's always an option, but it obviously costs money. Um, if you were in a server 1 or 2 course, we're on server the material server 2016 at the moment, even though server 2022 is out. Part of the issue is Microsoft said we're not doing any education around it. So we're like, are you kidding? It's still a viable product. It's still used heavily used in industry, but they're like, well, we're not going to do any education around it. So we're struggling. This is what happens when the vendors, make changes. They do what they want to do. They don't have to consult higher ed or anybody. They have a path and they go down it. And it makes things unique from an education standpoint for everybody. And I don't care if you're an industry expert or if you're, just going through school or what have you. It changes how you have to learn things because a company may not focus on anything anymore or not even provide you the materials for it. But yet, if it's something that your company needs, well, that's a big deal. It's just a little bit of a challenge. Just some stuff from kind of behind the scenes, and obviously we see it more from the higher ed stuff than we do, from other things. But it's a problem, and it's not one that's going to go away anytime soon. These companies do this based on demand and profitability and everything else. We're not going to go back and teach you generic operating systems because that's not going to get you a job. We're going to teach you Microsoft Windows or Linux or what have you. Um, but there's a risk in doing that. And the risk is, will the vendors provide it? Will we have materials and all that? But that's just a little bit of behind the scenes, but it is something to remember and to understand because as you go throughout multiple courses or you go throughout your career, some of the things that you have to do, you might not be able to find the training for, but yet somebody wants you to be an expert in it. which is counterintuitive, but that's what's happening. And it's a very weird time. Like I said, I would say probably the biggest example, Server 2022. Microsoft said, well, no certifications with it anymore. If you want a Microsoft cert, it's got to be a cloud-based Azure cert. No more server operating system certs. It still exists for legacy, even though there's millions of installed base of Windows Server. Microsoft saying, we're not going to focus on that. Hopefully you already know what it all does. Not something I would do, but it's what they chose to do. Did they get a lot of flack for it? Yeah. But that's the challenge. They force everything into the cloud, but then the cloud changes. We used to have different labs for the cloud. It's already changed once on us, and now we're kind of hosed when we have to use this. It's not that we're hosed. It's just it's never changes when you want it to. You never have a ramp up time because it's on and then off, and then something else is there. That's the way IT is. It's makes it a really unique thing to be in, but it's just part of the fun. So just wanted to add that video in. So have a good day.